Greetings and namaste to all. Dear friends, my name is Bharat Saraugi. I welcome you all to this virtual property event, first of its kind in present COVID scenario. I sincerely hope that you and your near and dear ones are in good health. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and in my last 18 years of practice, I'm very well understand what kind of problem a non-resident Indian face while buying or selling property in India. I shall give you a short presentation in which I will covering certain important aspects while buying or selling property in India. Let me open my presentation. We all have a lot of questions, confusion in our mind about how the property will be sold, whom should I sell, what things we should know about the buyer before we finalize the deal. Can we get into any legal dispute? How to compute taxes? How to pay taxes? How to repatriate money back in our country? What documentation and process do we follow when we sell a property? In this short presentation, I try to address all these questions. I shall be talking about the pre-execution part, the taxes part, the execution of the sale deed, and lastly, the repatriation of the fund. The first question comes to our mind when we decide to sell is at what price should I sell? As being in overseas, you are not aware that the right price. Further, the Indian market is not so matured or developed that the government or any agency publish the current market price area-wise. So for this, you have to be little dependent on various online property sites like the 99 Acres or the Magicbricks, where indicative price can be obtained. You should do some basic level search inquiry about the proposed buyer. It can be done through Google. You can check whether any litigation is showing in his name, any old criminal offense or history, so that we can avoid all these kind of bias. We should check the present stamp duty valuation or the government valuation as to determine the deal value. The stamp duty value should not be more than the deal value, as the taxes need to be paid by both buyer and seller for any difference amount between the government value and the deal value. We should obtain a no due certificate from the society of the building, and the property tax should also be paid. There should be no outstanding. At the planning stage itself, you should have a rough calculation of capital gain, as it will help you to do your tax planning. For properties which have been inherited by you through will, your name should be registered in the document by way of probate. Now, the taxes part. There's a peculiar issue for an NRI when he sells a property in India. I'm sure many of you are not aware. As per the Income Tax Act, the buyer is supposed to deduct withholding tax. We call it TDS in India, and it is at the rate of 20% of the sale value. Mind it is not on the capital gain. So there's a major outflow of fund due to TDS, which can be avoided if properly planned. If your capital gain tax is much below the withholding tax, you can apply for an online lower deduction of tax certificate. I give you a small example. Suppose we purchase a property for say rupees 1 crore and we want to sell it for 90 lakhs. So there's a loss. Still, the buyer will deduct TDS at the rate of 20% on this 90 lakhs, which comes to 18 lakhs. In spite of having losses, there's a TDS outflow, there's a tax outflow. So we can avoid this scenario if we apply for a lower TDS certificate online, and it has to be done before the registry. Further, you should always file your taxes in India when you sell any property in India, as it is mandatory to disclose any capital gain or loss in India through the income tax returns. The execution part. If the buyer, the buyer is having the obligation to get the registry drafted by a lawyer. You should carefully review the same. While at the time of finalizing the deal, the date of registry or the full payment, there's always a lag time. I always advise my clients not to take large amounts as advances. As in that case, for any reason, if the deal does not get through, the buyer can go to the court and make the property disputed. The payment from the buyer should always be through banking channel, and cash should be avoided, as cash has no value in India anymore. We should receive all the payments either through pay order or checks or RTGS before the registration. And all these payment details together with the TDS challans deposited by the buyer should be mentioned in the register deed to avoid any future dispute. All brokerages, legal charges, if any, should be paid through bank channel only. And proper bills and receipt of the same should be kept to take benefit of capital gain calculation. The sale proceeds generally come to NRO account. And after paying all the taxes, the balance amount can be transferred to NRE or directly to the overseas bank account. You can for this, you need to submit 2 forms. One form is 15CA certificate, which has to be done online by you. And other form is 15CB that has to be given by a chartered accountant. You can transfer any amount at any point of time. You can transfer the fund from NRO to NRE or overseas accounts. I would suggest certain tips, like we should never hand over any original document to the prospective buyer for searching. It should be handed over only after registering. Do not forget to collect TDS certificate from buyer. I've seen many cases where the seller need to vigorously follow up for TDS certificate for buyer even after 6 months of registry. You should maintain a photocopy of all the documents related to the property, including copy of the sale deed, the original purchase deed, any improvement cost. All these bills need to be kept properly, as the same shall be required for filing tax return. And it is also required if your file is chosen for tax scrutiny. One more point I'd like to mention, that I've seen in many cases that the seller forgets to invest money in capital gain bonds. It should be done within 6 months from the date of registry. As you all are here in this event in some way or other to buy property in India sooner or later, and you all have questions in mind, like what are current regulations, what documentation should we have, and what point should we look while taking possession. Let us address this one by one. You're expected to do some due diligence of the developer, like the developer reputation. Are any legal cases pending against the developer? Or is there any pending insolvency case against the developer? All this information can be found out through Google search. And you shall avoid these developers with bad reputation. What is the market rate of the area, which we can find out from various online property websites? And what facilities available in the projects? We need to check the prevailing stamp duty registry value of the property, as the stamp duty value cannot be more than the purchase value. Otherwise, taxes to be paid by both buyer and developer on difference in stamp duty value and purchase value. You can get the legality of the property verified through a lawyer. However, in case of any new project which is approved by bank, no such search is required. All the real estate project, either small, medium or large, need to register under RERA, which is the regulatory body. You should check the registration status of the project at the state RERA website. You can anytime make an online complaint in case if there is a dispute with a developer or a real estate agent. RERA is a very powerful regulatory body and has given a lot of power to the buyers. You can also get a list of projects whose registration has been revoked. The buyer should check whether the date of completion and possession is mentioned in the sale agreement. If the project is delayed for a long time, will the buyer get an option to switch to another project, or is there an option to claim refund of full money? All these need to be mentioned in the sale agreement. In case of a normal delay, is there a provision for interest payment? All these need to be taken care of. No other charges or additional charges should be categorically disclosed in the agreement. Going by the current trend of huge delay in construction in India, I suggest my clients to opt for construction linked payment only. With regard to car parking, the car parking details, whether covered or open or in basement 1 or 2, should be clearly mentioned in the agreement with proper identification number or location to minimize any future disputes. All payments to developer should be through banking channel only, either from the NRO account or NRE account. No cash payment should be done, as you cannot claim cash payment as part of purchase cost. 1% TDS to be deducted on any payment of property above 50 lakhs. TDS to be deducted on the gross amount, excluding the GST. You should timely deposit the TDS challan within 7th of the next month, or else there's an interest of 18% per annum and penalty of rupees 200 for late reporting in Form 26 QB. Any brokerages or legal fees to be paid through banking channel only, and proper receipts to be kept to claim it as a part of purchase cost. Certain important points you should remember at the time of possession. You should insist on copy of completion certificate and possession letter at the time of possession. Property tax registration and membership enrollment for society and association should also be done immediately after possession. Start paying your maintenance bill so that the property is properly maintained, as it is a very important criteria to get a good value for the property. At this stage, you can rent out the property also. I have tried to touch upon most of the important aspects. However, for detailed consultation, you can always reach us at email or phone number given in the slide below. It was indeed a pleasure to talk in front of you all, and I would like to thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity. Stay well, stay healthy, and stay alert while buying or selling property in India. Thank you and bye.